The restaurant was buzzing with noise, clinking glasses, and quiet laughter. At the back corner table, a billionaire CEO sat with his investors, dressed in a sharp, tailored suit that screamed power. To him, waiters and waitresses were invisible, mere background figures. That night, however, something happened that shattered his arrogance. When a young waitress nervously brought the check, he didn't even look up. He grabbed the receipt, ready to scribble his signature. But then, her voice trembled. "Sir, that's my dad's signature." The room froze. The CEO's pen slipped from his hand. His glass tumbled and shattered on the floor, but he didn't notice. His face turned pale, eyes locked on the paper in disbelief. For years, he thought the past was buried. He thought no one would ever connect him to the signature that haunted his empire. Yet here it was in black ink staring back at him. And from the lips of a poor waitress who clearly had no idea who she had just confronted. Who was her father? What secret could possibly make a billionaire drop everything in shock? And why did his hands tremble like a guilty man caught red-handed? The truth was about to come out, whether he wanted it or not. Emily had been working double shifts for weeks. At 22, she carried responsibilities most of her friends couldn't imagine. Her mother was sick, her younger brother was still in school, and the family's debts stacked higher than the bills she could pay. She didn't complain, though. Emily was kind, humble, and hardworking. Every customer at the Rosewood Grill liked her, though few noticed how she sometimes skipped meals just to make sure her brother had enough. One night while wiping tables, she overheard co-workers whisper about a powerful guest arriving. Mr. Jonathan Pierce, billionaire CEO of Pierce Industries, a man with a reputation for building empires, crushing competitors and never caring who got left behind. "Don't make mistakes around him," her manager warned. "People like us are replaceable to people like him." Emily nodded silently. She knew her role: serve, smile, stay invisible. But Jonathan Pierce wasn't just another wealthy customer. Unknown to Emily, his past was deeply tied to her family. Years ago, Emily's father, an honest engineer, had worked at Pierce Industries. He was brilliant, talented, and fiercely ethical. But one day, he disappeared from the corporate world, leaving his family struggling in silence. All Emily had were faint memories of him, his laugh and his handwriting. His signature, bold, distinctive, unforgettable, was etched in her heart. That night, destiny arranged the unthinkable: her father's past, Pierce's secrets, and Emily's quiet determination were about to collide in a storm that would shake the entire restaurant. The moment Jonathan arrived, the staff scattered to attend to him. He ordered the most expensive wine without looking at the menu. Investors surrounded him, laughing too loudly at his forced jokes. Emily approached with calm grace, though her heart pounded. "Good evening, sir. May I take your order?" Jonathan barely glanced at her. "Just do your job quickly. We're discussing important business." His words stung, but Emily kept her smile. She served dishes, refilled glasses, endured his dismissive tone. To him, she was nobody. Hours later, as the night wound down, Jonathan asked for the bill. Emily carried it over carefully, setting it before him. He opened his leather pen case, about to sign, when Emily's eyes caught something strange on the receipt. The pre-printed signature, belonging to the original leaseholder of the restaurant, was the same as her father's. Her breath hitched. She whispered, almost without thinking, "Sir, that's my dad's signature." Jonathan's hand froze mid-air. The pen slipped from his grip, clattering to the table. His wineglass tipped and shattered on the floor. Investors stared in confusion, murmuring, "What did you just say?" Jonathan's voice cracked. Emily pointed at the signature. "That's my dad's. I'd recognize it anywhere. His name was David Miller. Do you know him?" Silence blanketed the room. Jonathan's face went pale. His jaw tightened, eyes filled with something no one had ever seen in him before: fear. The investors exchanged confused glances. Emily's co-workers whispered nervously, "What was going on? Why did the richest man in the room look like he'd seen a ghost?" Jonathan couldn't speak. Because Emily had just unknowingly uncovered the very secret he had spent years burying. David Miller had once been his greatest threat, until Jonathan destroyed him. Jonathan stood abruptly, knocking back his chair. "Enough, dinner's over." But Emily, trembling, stepped forward. You knew my father, didn't you?" The investors looked intrigued now. "What's this about, Jonathan?" Jonathan's mask cracked. His voice wavered. "Your father was brilliant. He designed technology that could have changed everything. but he refused to sell it cheaply. He wanted fairness, ethics. His throat tightened. I made sure his work never saw the light of day. Emily's eyes widened. You ruined him? That's why he disappeared? That's why my family lost everything? The investors were stunned. One muttered, Is this true, Pierce? You built your empire on stolen work? Jonathan's empire, his power, his respect suddenly felt fragile. The room buzzed with judgment. Emily's hands shook, but her voice grew strong. My father always said integrity mattered more than money. You may have silenced him, but you didn't erase him. His signature. It's still here. His truth is still here. Jonathan's chest tightened. He had built towers of glass and steel, but in that moment, he felt smaller than the waitress before him. News of the confrontation spread quickly. Investors pulled out, stock prices dropped, and Jonathan's empire shook at its foundation. But the biggest shift wasn't financial, it was personal. For the first time, Jonathan Pierce faced the weight of guilt. He had stolen a man's life's work and left a family in poverty. And now, the daughter of that man had unknowingly cornered him in the very place he sought comfort. Emily, however, didn't gloat. She didn't threaten. She simply walked away with dignity, whispering, That signature is worth more than your entire fortune. Weeks later, Jonathan reached out. He offered restitution, scholarships for Emily's brother, and funds for her mother's treatment. It didn't erase the past, but it was a start. Emily accepted, not for wealth, but for justice. She proved that even the smallest voice could topple the loudest giant. And Jonathan? He would never forget the night a poor waitress reminded him of the one thing money could never: buy back honor. What would you do if you were Emily? Would you forgive the billionaire, or make him pay in full?